everyone, Liz Campbell here from Dynamic Intention, coming to you live from the beach in Palma, having had a nice little rainstorm earlier which has broken the massive humidity that we've had here for the past couple of weeks, and wanting to come on and talk today a little bit about, it's sort of expanding on what I started talking about yesterday, this whole kind of thing of like people being afraid of chaos and being afraid of just allowing themselves to be in the chaos that precedes creation. Now, you know, anyone who's kind of familiar with the whole idea of cycles, and you know, people get caught up in planetary cycles and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, my own personal take on this is that cycles are always personal. If you're putting your power outside of yourself into everything outside of you, and you're looking to the outside of you for the information on the cycle, you're looking in the wrong place. The cycle is, your cycles are personal to you and they come from within, and they may or may not match up with what's going on with the planet. It's always about directing your focus inside rather than outside. But yeah, essentially, if you're familiar with the idea of cycles, you'll understand that, you know, we have cycles of death and rebirth on this planet. You know, it's part of the whole thing. You're the mother load of chaos. I love it. Otherwise you panic. How you doing, Alice? But essentially, like, one of the things I see is that, like, and it's a symbol of complete control freakery, actually. People being scared of the chaos, and actually the chaos that happens is a part of creation. It's like sometimes everything has to fall apart in order to come together, and I was talking about this a little bit earlier, yesterday when I came on, and I just wanted to sort of expand on this and talk about actually the fact that it is necessary to throw yourself into the cauldron in order to create truly from a place of genuine desire, actually, because your genuine desires are never easy, neatly wrapped little things, much as there may be many people in the spiritual, so-called spiritual, labelled spiritual sphere of things who would try to claim that everything needs to be neat and nice and like unicorn farts and rainbows. Actually, you know, being a whole being and embracing that fully means embracing the darkness, embracing the shadow, embracing the chaos, embracing the fact that, you know, you could boil it down to like this whole idea as women. Okay, we have a portal within our womb, like the womb space, which is our ultimate creative space as women. Is where we create babies. It's also where we birth our desires. Is dark. It's, you know, it's dark. It's a void almost, and you go into the void, and it can feel quite chaotic because you don't know exactly what's going to happen next. But actually, when you can connect in with this energy in here, this is where all of the good stuff starts to come up. If you can stop being afraid of it and actually start to embrace what's on offer, okay? But I see, you know, when you look around you at the world and people in general and like the desires that everyone espouses and so on and so forth, I see a lot of people playing it really fucking safe with what they're creating, with what they're saying they desire to experience, you know. And I've seen it so many times in clients of mine when they've started working with my stuff. Like, for a really good example, when I first brought out Miraculous Manifestation, which has long since been superseded by other things, back at the back end of 2016, I had people doing that course who were coming in and they were going, right, okay, what I want is, like, you know, the nice house, the car, the blah, 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 blah. Now, my work has never been about going, okay, have all the material stuff that you think you want. My work's always been about going to the deeper level of like, what is it that's really turning you on? What is it that you really want, that you're fucking denying your desires about, okay? And actually delving into that. And pretty much everyone I've ever worked with has turned around to me and actually said that through the work they've done with me, they've realised that, you know, they've bought into this lovely gilded lie that everyone fucking buys into, the consumer society lie that they want the nice house, the nice car, and da-da-da-da-da, and that's it. They just want a nice, calm, peaceful life, right? But none of us, absolutely fucking none of us here on this planet at this moment in time came here to just have a nice, boring, safe, comfortable time. We came here to create. We came here to create a new earth. We came here to create utopia. We came here to do shit that hadn't been done before, okay? Because we're in this ascension process on this planet, whatever you want to call it, whether you call it an ascension or something else, fucking whatever, it doesn't matter. You know, it's all just words. But essentially, we're in this place where we are opening up more and more and more to our hidden gifts, talents and abilities, and actually coming out into the open about them after, you know, hundreds if not thousands of years of denying them because of fear of persecution, so on and so forth. You know, everyone has psychic abilities, every single fucking person on this planet. Most people are shut off to them. The reason why most people are shut off to them is because of the persecution they faced in other lifetimes, because of lifetimes where their power has been tapped for whatever reason. You know, you and I, Alice, we know something about that, don't we? You know, where we have basically been, for one reason or another, sucked into various different dramas where we've played out different things, where we've like had our gifts utilised in ways that maybe weren't so helpful, so on and so forth. And we're now in this space where we are able to actually start connecting in with the more mystical side of things, you could say, with our, you know, with our other senses, our sixth senses, our clair senses. And I see more and more people wanting to develop those. You know, it's one of the things that my work does, but wanting to actually utilise that in building your business, in creating the life that you desire to create, and actually to create the highest possible version of yourself. You came out the room about 10 minutes ago. It's a shame your comments faded, actually. Didn't see all of that. I'm going to have to go back and read it at the end. But yeah, just essentially kind of understanding how much, when you open up to the whole of who you are, it does entail dealing with chaos, because you get to deal with all the fears, all of the fucking shit that you've had attached to these gifts of yours that you have hidden from yourself, from others, from the world, you know, and it's part of the process. You can't get past this chaos point of the creation basically until you decide to embrace it, and it is a beautiful part of the whole thing. It's part of the process. It's part of the process, and if you really allow yourself to embrace it fully, you know, it deepens your trust in yourself, in, you could say, the universe. Now, if you get a handle on it the way that I have been, you know, you understand that you are the universe is you. So when you do this whole thing of saying thank you, universe, what you need to be doing is really understanding that you're creating all of this, that it's like, it's a co-creation between you and the universe. The universe, you are creating the universe that you live in, as you speak, as you move, as you act, as you think, as you talk, as you fucking everything. Okay. And I think a lot of people are really noticing that more and more and more now, because essentially it's difficult not to. Things are manifesting much faster for people when you're aligned. Well, I'm going to say when you're aligned with that which you want to, which you desire to create, which means that you actually have an emotional pull towards it without being obsessed or attached to it in any way, and you don't have anything standing in the way of manifesting in it, such as programs or negative emotions blocking the path. Okay, things manifest, things create really fucking quickly, almost sometimes without any real action beyond, you know, when people talk about taking the action step, when I talk about taking the action step is not always necessarily what would be the most logical thing. a lot of the time it's something that would seem completely fucking illogical, but it will be based on the lessons that your soul wants to embody in this lifetime. So for example, my two things that I came in, my two like big soul, I'm going to say learnings or choices for this lifetime, are to really embrace and embody receiving and patience, which has never been a strong point for me. Okay, and I'll explain why. Okay, so my last few lifetimes on the run up to this one, I was the one that was the giver. I did everything for everyone else all the time. And I was in a very much a big, it's like a 500 year cycle, personal cycle through lifetimes of self-sacrifice, various different things. Sacrificing my desires for, you could say, the greater good, but actually a lot of the time it really wasn't the greater good. It was just what other people thought was the greater good, but it wasn't necessarily for me. And in this lifetime, my soul's like, no, I want the easy time of it. I want to be able to lie on the beach and fucking create like this. I'm in the perfect place right now. The beach is my office, essentially. So for me personally, when I get given an action step, once I've created something energetically, quite often my action step will be something that seems completely fucking illogical, like go to the beach and fucking go for a swim, or go for a coffee, or go and hang out with a friend. Now, that's not going to be the same for everyone. Okay, so for the people who are sort of doing the whole, I want to do the wishful thinking and allow things to drop into my lap path, that may or may not be the way that your soul wants to create. Everyone does things differently. Like, the only way really you can get into this is actually by fucking learning at a deeper level what it is that you have come here to primarily experience in this lifetime. Now, ultimately you're a limitless being, and you've come here to experience being limitless, but along the way there are certain things that you may not have been doing in other lifetimes that your soul really wants to get a handle on again in this one. And this is why this is useful, okay, to actually fucking understand this and to be able to work with it. And it's one of the things I do when I'm working with clients, whether one-to-one, I don't do it in group situations so much. The group stuff that I put out is more about helping people to connect for themselves with their own thing via the group program. With one-to-one clients, because it's a bit more fast and furious, I would tap in if they didn't feel that they were able to, and find out kind of what we could say the blueprint is for someone in this lifetime. Understand also that blueprints can be superseded. They're not set in stone. They're useful until we move past them. Okay, so when people get stuck on this whole thing of there's a blueprint for this and there's a plan for that and there's a system for this and this is the only thing that works for me, that's bullshit. That's, when you decide that you're going to fucking just be limited to one thing all the way through your life, that's total bullshit. But essentially there are certain things your soul wants to experience as part of its, kind of experience in the earth playground this time around, always. So, it's worth bearing that one in mind. Essentially, like, creation is as easy as create the thing energetically, move all the fucking blocks out of the way, and people usually do. If it's a true desire and it's something you truly want to create, yes, there will be fucking blocks to you creating it, because you desire to expand through the creation that you're creating. Okay, so your desires will always be expansive and will always require for you to grow. And usually being required to grow means actually needing to shed the shit that is in the way. Okay, whatever it might be. So shedding the fears. Okay, and it's not to say, basically, truly, if you're connecting with your true desires, they will feel scary to you. They will feel like a stretch. They will feel uncomfortable. And they're asking you to step up and stretch, basically. And then once you've achieved that next set of desires, that, and you've stretched and you've done it, you then move on to the next lot and the next lot and the next lot. If you find yourself sitting on your laurels and you find yourself creating things and everything's just hunky-dory and super easy and you're not ever having to deal with any fear coming up, I would suggest that you are not growing in the way that you would actually thrive doing. Okay, that's something that's important to understand. But yeah, essentially, you know, it's one of the things I just really think is important to emphasise is how important it is for you to A, be prepared to face your shadow stuff, B, be prepared to face your fears, which are always tied up with your shadow anyway, and C, be prepared to fucking get uncomfortable and dive into the chaos, because it is part of the process. It's not separate from it. So yeah, essentially, you know, self-actualization, self-mastery is about this. It's not about just sitting there going, oh, I'm just going to fucking take things easy. Although sometimes it can really feel like you are taking things easy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, you've got to have the discomfort in there too, because that shows you that there's growth. It doesn't need to be painful, just uncomfortable. They say life is beyond the comfort zone, basically. And I will say as well that, you know, one of the things I pride myself on when I work with clients is that I do push people to get uncomfortable. I do ask confrontational questions. I ask challenging questions. I ask people things that make them think and stretch beyond their own perceptions, and things that bring up fear for them, so that we can fucking get them to move past the fear, so I can delve in and see what the roots of the fear are and we can clear it and stuff, you know. One of the fucking bonus things about being such a super duper wizardy alchemist with the way that I work is that I can help someone bring up all their fear, and I can also help them to clear it very, very easily. So it just shortens the whole fucking process of getting to where you want to go, basically, without it being too stressful most of the time. But yeah, essentially, watching a plane coming in the distance. I'm going to give you guys the view in a minute of where I am. Just wanting to sort of segue quite neatly into talking about the service that I'm offering, one-to-one, here in Mallorca, or wherever you happen to want to go in the world, provided it's viable. Okay, so this is something that's like, this is something I'm offering here, but I'm also offering to travel for the right people and the right money. Essentially, yeah, it's talking about the sort of the discomfort, the fact it's necessary to be uncomfortable. Is also the other thing to remember is it can be fucking loads of fun, and actually this is what this whole thing of a grand day out is all about. I'm going to link underneath so that you can read through. But essentially, you know, if you're going to put yourself through discomfort, then what better way to do it than to challenge all of your boundaries all at once and actually fucking step out of your own comfortable physical rut and go somewhere you haven't been before, to do things you haven't done before, to actually have loads of fun doing it, and to do it in a setting like this. We have the Bay of Palma. I'm going to try and move my camera around. We've got clouds above the Tramontana over there. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, this is Mallorca. This is the Bay of Palma, just down the road from where I live. And essentially, Mallorca is a playground for those who are willing to participate in what's on offer here. So it pretty much is a case of the world's your oyster. I'll put up a link underneath this video so you can have a read through, anyone who watches this. And this is literally like my ultimate one-to-one offering. Is one-to-one, it's effectively a one-to-one private mini retreat with me here in Mallorca with all the trimmings, basically. You get to come and you get to expand like no one's fucking business whilst experiencing the very best life has to offer. What's not to love about that? Having said all of this, I love and leave you now. Mwah. Bye for now. Oops.